Alrighty, let's get started on this. Hello, this is Delta Core, and I know I haven't been updating in a while. I figured it's about time to make a progress report, and by progress, there's been a lot of it. Not I'm not sure where I left off, but think it was only after a few weapons. So let's just run. So let's just do a quick run through. Unfortunately, I do not think I have much time to go through all the progress, but we'll see what we can do. All right. So we have two different types of, well, not two, three. We have the standard enemy here, enemy 1, and as you can tell, everything looks different. I'm using the Udemy's sprite. I'm very sorry for. I seem to have woken up with the sniffles. Don't worry, it's probably not COVID or anything. It's fine. So anyway, let's just continue on. I'm using Udemy's built-in sprite system, not system, sprite assets, I should say. We have the standard enemy types. So let's start down here. We have as we see, we have the enemies that start here, as well as the seeker that will track your location. This enemy in the middle is probably worth a progress report all on his own, just because of how much time this motherfucker took. And what he does is, well, as you can see, he stops, aims, and fires. He is programmed to track your location, and when he points at you, or when he reaches a set rotation, or what's actually happening is that this guy has actually attached a child object to the player character, and so it is going to utilize a look at constraint to make this dude look at this guy. When this guy is looking at the last area that this lock-on constraint is, it's not actually it's not attaching a lock-on constraint to the player character. It has a it has a look at constraint on a child object. Well, not even a child object, on a game object that goes toward the player's location, and then when it is there, it will fire as quickly as possible. You also notice there is a UI. Well, yeah, including things like a health bar, live systems. I'll tell you the parts that are part of. Let me just get rid of this enemy. In fact, let me just get rid of all the enemies, and I can show off some of the mechanics. Well, that I've added. So this is a plasma gun, and I must admit, the plasma gun is incredible. Became a lot more fun to use once I added the charge effects. The charge effects are, well, they're a homemade animation asset. I just opened up Photoshop, created I think like 5 or so sprites, enlarged them, changed the color, and then overlaid them with each other. A lot of it is simply having a visual cue or a visual identifier just makes certain items a lot more user friendly. Speaking of having visual assets, you can notice that I managed to add ammo counters and weapon names onto these two weapons, so that way you know how much ammo you have in your machine gun, without having to rely on the ammo indicator here, as well as your missiles. I've managed to there is a obviously a difficulty here in that how should I say this? Um oh dear. The difficulty is that the plasma gun and the well your up weapon slot and your right weapon slot are actually separate game objects. So essentially what we need to do is that we need to take the script asset that is normally hard coded onto the player because the Udemy course the Udemy course kind of wants you to do a lot of things on one script. I'm not sure whether this is recommended or not, but because my different weapons are all on different separate game objects, I'm gonna have to make it so that the game object plugs into the canvas and kind of is able to is able to be called upon. I managed to do it for the plasma gun, so all I need to do is to apply it to every other weapon. Shouldn't take too long, but there is actually a few other changes, a few other implementations. These are part of the Udemy course. So the speed up, the tri shot, and the shield. Now there are some differences. For example, the shield is actually a cumulative power up. So let me just give myself 2 shields. And if you look around here, you'll see shield lives. So essentially, collecting shields is essentially like collecting free hits. So it is essentially a way of extending your life. If you've taken a lot of hits, you'll be essentially relying on your shield to well continue extend to continue surviving or extending your chances of survival. The but there is one oh yeah, I should actually go over the next power up. The triple machine gun. Oh yeah, also an important thing about the shield is that an important thing about the shield is that it's not actually a physical game object. What's going on is that when you have the shield active, you are essentially mitigating damage. Essentially, the enemy's bullets will still hit your player character. It's like you'll notice this because there's no shield game object and therefore no collider on the shield. What's actually happening is that the shield applies an invincibility effect onto your player. So it's not an actual shield. The shield here is the visual shield is just a visual effect. So the next thing is the triple shot power up, and this is a temporary power up that will last. I don't know how many seconds. I'll have to open up the script and take a look at what the code is. Honestly, I kind of wanted to be able to have a system that showed off. I'd usually have this on on a timer, but because I want to be able to show like how long you have on your triple shot, but I don't know how to display that. But yeah, so the idea is you have this script. While triple shot is active true, then it will change. It activates a boolean. So essentially, the triple shot function is something that is hard coded into your player. Let me see if I can grab the shoot function. Shoot laser. See if triple shot is active, if is triple shot active equal true, then it will instantiate a triple shot prefab, which I have programmed, which is its own little kind of its own little thing. Um, but whatever. It's not really that complicated. So all that does is that it sets the is triple shot active to true, and then if triple shot active is true, therefore triple shot active is true. I mean, it will instantiate this prefab you see down here, which is actually three bullets that have been parented together, that have been parented to each other. I just had all I did was added a little script called a triple shot cleanup that would detect if its children, if it had no children left, it'll destroy itself, or I think it was something that I added on the original bullet script that said, yes, if transform.parent is not true, true destroy transform parent. Yeah, so essentially this script just says, does this object have a parent? If it does, then when this object is destroyed, destroy its parent as well. So let's go on to the next power-up. And this next power-up is pretty significant because it required me to change a pre-existing weapon. This is the speed-up power-up, and it increases the speed of the player. And also, you see these visual effects that is actually just a visual effect that I added because I thought it was important to have a little visual effect that told the player if a power-up was active. So for example, this little green effect, it's to, because oftentimes I would just, it gives you a decent idea for how long these power-ups are lasting for. But the speed up effect did make me change one of my weapons. So let me give myself the Op Fighter again. The Op Fighter used to have its own movement script, and essentially it moved perfectly with the player. This time the op fighters are designed to follow a location that has been parent the the op fighters are programmed to follow a location near the around the parent. So there's actually it grabs a vector tree of the player, creates a version of the player, and actually identifies which option fighter is which. It sounds kind of complicated, but I think I'll see if I can find the script for it. So yes, essentially when you instantiate the op fighters, what ends up happening is that oh god. So I'm very sorry for this sniffling. It's just, oh god, I gotta, after this I will have to get to I'll have to what's it called, get some nasal spray. Um Oh yeah, the option fighters each have 100 bullets. I'm not sure if I actually displayed this weapon before, so this might actually be the first time you've seen it, but it worked very different before. But what it does is that it creates it grabs the option fighters, and then it grabs their scripts. And so what it's going to do is that it's going to create a target position that they have to follow. So you can see it's going to continually grab a target. It's going to take the player's target position, and it has an offset applied to it. And by the way, you notice my option fighters aren't firing anymore. That's because they ran out of bullets. The option fighters have around 100 bullets each. As you can see, its current ammo is zero for both of them. So what happens is that when you are out of ammo, you essentially use right the right button again. Um, the reason for this is that when the reason for this is that when you when you summon the option fighters, their machine guns are tied to your machine guns in a sense. The fire function is the same button as your regular machine gun, which is why when you fire the option when you notice every time I fired the option fighters machine guns, I was also firing my main ship's machine guns. The only time in which that doesn't happen is when the regular fighter's machine gun, the player character's machine gun, doesn't have any ammo. Anyway, so what's going to happen now that they are out of ammo is I'm going to press the right button, which initially summoned them, and they are going to pull back, and they are going to essentially kamikaze as a final attack. There are several weapons that I have yet to display, but essentially I need to. So what I'm gonna have to do next is I'm going to have to apply this ammo indicator, and then I'm going to need to get a replacement, essentially text replacement for down here and down here to identify what weapon you have and how much ammo you have for those weapons. That's all for the progress report. Unfortunately, I don't have much time left. Somebody is going to be coming by to help me cook food, but simply put, there are a lot of things in the works. I'm gonna go get that nasal spray. I'll see you. I'll see you next time. Have a nice day.